Lisa Abney.
Hi.
How are you? You can sit right there.
Excellent.
And we are being observed by that camera right there. That's it. And thank you very much for coming on banddirector.com.
Well, it's my pleasure.
And,
Well,
I'm
thrilled to
Sam
be
Palafian,
here.
and the guy behind the Wizard of Oz. No one ever sees him. He's back there. That's David Knox. This is his brainchild. And he's a cause guy, and he goes all around the country seeing events and making sure the rest of the world sees these events.
Well, we
and,
love that.
And now we're here, you know, and there's an amazing band day coming tomorrow. So first thing I had to get over was how amazing the band is. Your band on campus. And, Lisa, you're provost and vice president of academic and student affairs.
Yes.
So where I used to teach at Arizona State, that was about 8 or 9 people that had those jobs. You know, so you look really busy. I mean, you look very relaxed in purple, I got to say. But your day's got to be harder than teaching tuba lessons like mine. You know. But thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you for having me. It's a delight. And you're right, it's a busy job, but I have so much fun. And it's always, for me, the exclamation point, you know, to the end of a long week is to get to come and listen to the band and see the great things that they're doing.
So you stole a question from me. I wanted to know if this band was important to you. I get it now.
Yeah.
How many people are on this campus studying?
Well, we have around 9,000 students, so we have a large student body. Now, we have a lot of online students, but we have a lot of face-to-face students who come primarily for things like this in the arts. We have a huge arts program, creative and performing arts. Music is so important in that piece of the creative and performing arts area.
Right.
All
band parents out there, this is a provost that's saying that music's important. I just want to go on record for that. Okay, let's get back to our story.
That's right.
Just awesome that you know that these people live a college life around band. So when we go to these things, and I've been working down there for a long time. The greatest thing is when somebody that's running a marching band says, "Who's having trouble in math?" How many math and engineering majors are there in the band? They raise their hand, and that's it. It's the last time you have an academic problem is if you're in a marching band, because there's always somebody that knows how easy that is. You know? So that's a beautiful community down there.
Well, and you're right. It helps so much with student retention and cohesion, and to keep students in school and moving along through their degree programs, because they get that support not only from their their academic area, but then also their band colleagues. And a lot of our students work, so they're busy. I've seen students. We have a student who works for Sodexo, our food service, on campus, and I've seen him be at events for us working, and then he will run to practice here, you know. and you know, in his Sodexo uniform, jump on the field, do his thing, and go on. They're an amazing group of students. I admire them so much.
That's really great. And you know, the other thing is, for very little credit hours, they spend an inordinate amount of time doing this, and there's a reason why. There's a feeling of belonging when you do this, and there's trips involved, you know, especially when the teams do well. And on those trips, you realize how smart people are. As a band leader, we have to proctor the exams. They have to happen exactly when they would have. So we'll be in a hotel bar that's not open yet. And I take all these people have to take the microbiology test, right? One of them's behind the bar, one of them's over here on the bandstand, and then I just sit there and but what I also have is a copy of the exam that I got to give to somebody tomorrow, and I'll do that. I'll read them, and I say, I can't answer any of these 19 questions, not one of them. That's how smart the band kids are. And when something goes wrong down there, it's unbelievable. Like if somebody breaks an instrument, there's always somebody in the band can sit there and look at it as a piece of physics, you know, and we sit there, here, chew up some gum, you know. But this, that's a big part of the quality of life here, and the rah-rah of it, the pageantry of it, making it a loud place on Saturdays and at basketball games and that sort of thing. I'm glad you're a fan. It really helps that you're a fan.
Oh, the president and I both love our band, and we are excited when we have new students come on, and we're very active. He comes usually when we have move-in day. The band is practicing, so he'll make a sweep through to see the band rehearsing, and then I'll come and make a sweep through. I mean, we just think it's so important. And I love to walk through the Kappa building and just watch those students sitting there with such intensity, practicing in the hallway or where, because they're just committed to it in a way that is amazing for me to see, because we certainly, kids in general sometimes get a rap that they're not committed to things and they're lazy and apathetic, but certainly band kids are not that way.
Well, it's an interesting thing, because sitting alone and learning apart is a problem-solving thing that you do alone. Then, and when you have a sectional, there might be 4, there might be 16 people sitting there just working on one little component of what we heard here a few minutes ago. Those are teams. That's a huge thing in the corporate world right now. This is team problem-solving, and so the model is made here, and many of these people won't go on with music except lifelong fans of music are on that field right now. And people that are band parents, future band parents of America, are down there. So it's like, it's a huge thing that does self-perpetuate. But the idea of the lessons learned, the analogous lessons learned down there, are what surprises me the most now. And I know that as an administrator, that their GPAs are through the roof. If you look at them just as a population, compared to most campuses. They really take care of business, and they have less time than other people.
Absolutely, but they learn to balance. You're right. They're busy, but they learn to juggle what they need to. And we've been amazed when you said that earlier about working in teams. When we had the 100th anniversary of the band a couple of years back, we had an alumni band that came back and performed, and they were so incredible. They actually were in our performing arts hall, and so they did a sort of a symphonic set, and they were incredible, and Bill Brent directed them, and it was so amazing to see people who were technical writers, who were engineers, who were math people, science people, teachers, music teachers, yet they all still loved music, loved the band, and loved it enough to come back and play in that event. It was just incredible to me.
When visiting with those people, and you always figure it's amazing that they stay after the beginning of band, because in most places in the country it's hot, but when you get down here and where I am, University of Miami, I mean, it's uncomfortable. But they feel like they've gone through something together, and that's why they bond. And I was like, well, in that case.
Well, and you understand, I mean, today we have a beautiful, cool, pleasant day, but there are so many days when those guys are down on the field and it's just hot. I mean, I don't know how the athletes and the band students do it. It is, this summer they were out practicing, and it was 105 degrees, and yet, like you said, they're there with their water bottles, trying to stay cool.
No, but it's all relative. When I lived in Phoenix, that was April.
That's true. But that's a dry heat.
But now you're in the highest of administrative positions here, but have you been here for longer than that?
Yes, I came as a faculty member back in 1997, and then I was the director of our Folk Life Center and department head in language and communication, and then dean, and then provost.
So that's you living above the store for a long time. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So is it harder to be a faculty member lecturing in front of 500-person class, a big lecture, or being a provost? Which one?
Oh Lord, they're both equally challenging. I will tell you. I mean, I still teach, and that's something that I love, and so I continue to teach because the department needs me, and B, I love to do it, so it works out great. But yes, to me, sometimes going back in the classroom is sort of a break. It's a pleasant.
I've heard that too. Because it's getting back to your core business. What do you teach? What do you still teach?
Well, I still teach courses in folklore and linguistics, and so those are sort of my primary areas. And so with the folklore stuff, there's so much. Bill Brent and I have talked about this many times. There's overlap with things that happen with traditional music, and certainly things that we see culturally in this area that are so critical to the cultures here that are music related, and
right.
some of these kids come out of those backgrounds where maybe their families maybe didn't play formal music in a band or in a group, but yet they've learned to play the guitar, the piano or organ in church or something.
Right.
So it's been wonderful and very interesting.
They're very big in a community like a marching band, because a lot of people grow up in an area like this part of the country where music was all around them growing up all the time. There are people whose everybody in the family plays something.
Yeah, it's
like
amazing.
I went to after Katrina, a lot of people went to Shreveport. About 20 people from my next door neighbor's family, and waited, for a long time to go back. And they had a circle. They took a picture of a birthday party circle, and there were 16 people in a circle playing guitars, mandolins, and fiddles, because that's where they all dispersed, and when they all ended up back in this part of the country to hang out, the instruments came back out. And it's time to play music again.
Yeah, well, and it does. It provides that solace and that break from the sort of misery around.
Like when you go teach a class.
Yes, indeed. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
This is going to be quite a thing tomorrow for people in high school to come visit your campus and to hear this band. It's amazing when you're in a high school band, you've been working since August on something, and you know how hard it is.
Yeah.
When you see that's amazing. That's better than a trip to Disneyland band for high school kids.
That warms my
heart.
That's good.
Well,
to hear.
that's the goods down there.
Yeah,
so that whole time,
so.
that whole time that you were doing all that here, I've been traveling around listening to marching bands. That is super quality down there, and I'm really happy to say that you were right about this band.
We love them.
They can really make thrills and chills happen.
Oh, they do, and it's so funny. People love the band. I mean, they come. They love the football games too, but the band is just the icing on the cake. They love to come hear the band play.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's a huge draw for us, and especially when you have a rough game and maybe aren't doing so well, and then the band comes out, it just makes everything better,
Thank you for your wonderful insights about what it's like to do this.
Thank
and the other
you.
thing is, this is like a musician's joke about how the conductor came to see us, like the tuba players in the back of the band. But the provost came to see us on band day.
Pleasure.
We'll be talking. We're going to write this date down. The provost came by. So
you say that to all the provosts.
If I could find one to come on, thank you very much,
Well,
Lisa Abney.
It's my pleasure.
Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.